Chat, do you think we can get through a 6-minute video in a half an hour? You know what? The sooner we start it, the sooner we'll find out. Let's go!
Imagine a world so cooked that giving up everything.
It's a woman! I looked at the channel, I was like, oh, she kind of seems cool. Apparently she draws all her videos. And she's got a good art style too. This is in my recommended page. So it's just like, huh, I want to check this out.
Imagine a world so cooked that giving up everything is actually a more logical career move than getting a degree. In China, there's a Gen Z trend called Bailan. It literally translates to let it rot. And no, it's not a protest with signs and shouting. It's way more relatable than that. It's just not doing anything. Imagine 200,000 people in a group chat collectively agreeing that they just don't want to work today and going back to sleep. They even have a name for this final boss level, which is full-time children. That's when you're 25, living at home, and your parents pay you an allowance just to exist because the job.
This is hitting way too close to home. Except my dad's not paying me just to exist. But, fuck. In my 20s, live with my parents. Well, I guess my dad. Oh, man.
Job market outside is scarier than a horror game. And before you say, oh, that's just a China thing, well, look around. You're probably watching this in a dark room at 2 p.m. on a weekday.
Yeah, like, it's definitely not China thing. So I brought it up, the hikikomori, or in this case, NEET. You know, we have these different terms. One of those article things came out with like, this study recently revealed blah 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 blah. And one of them was the fact that Gen Z's favorite pastime these days is just bed rotting and doom screaming all day. Literally just lay in bed, consuming the slop up, and not do anything with your life. And I might also be doing that personally myself too. It's fine. Nobody's going outside anymore. You're not going out to eat. You're not going to play putt-putt or go bowling or watching a movie. Drinking is also way down. Personally, I say it's a good thing, but I know it's being replaced by weed, so it's not a good thing. At least drinking is a social activity. It's going across the board that younger generations are just not doing anything with each other or interacting with anyone above them either. Because there's no point. Everything's online these days. And if you go outside, especially in America, you have to deal with diversity. And it's just easier just to stay at home and not have to worry about that stuff.
Blinds are shut, and you've got 3 half empty water bottles on your nightstand. You're basically a full-time child.
I have 2 water bottles right beside me.
You just haven't updated your LinkedIn bio yet. Look, we were told that life was a simple RPG game. Go to school, get the middle class DLC, and profit for a living. But oh boy, the reality is way worse. Gen Z unemployment is peak at 10.5%. We're the most educated generation in history, holding 6-figure debt for degrees that are basically expensive utensils. Applying for...
Oh yeah, for years, my dad has been begging me to go to college. I think he's given up on this at this point. But he was so upset that I didn't go to college. I went for a semester, but that was it. I kind of feel bad for him because out of all the kids, I was the only one with a college fund. I mean, I would still have to get, student loans as well because there wasn't that much money. But at least there was some money there compared to nothing that my siblings had. The time period that they went to college was completely different than by the time that I came around and went to college because degrees are useless. There is no point to them. There's an expensive piece of paper. I had multiple jobs when I was in high school, and the amount of people that actually did go to college, they weren't gender studies, and they were still working at the gas station. One of my managers at the gas station had a degree in like business, one of those like universally good degrees where you can kind of like use them anywhere. And then she's a manager at the gas station, and in her like 30s and 40s. The job market is completely oversaturated because everyone has a degree. And now you need a bachelor's degree just to get a basic job. Because we've imported the third world, so now we're becoming the third world. The H-1Bs are taking a lot of the tech jobs in the sector. There's a reason why Google, Microsoft, Capital One are all being overrun by Indians. And then you have the blacks all working the government jobs. The white men being actively discriminated against for college degrees in general. And then we keep importing more Chinese students. It just makes it impossible for anybody to get a job. So what is the point? And while China and Japan don't have the problem with the Browns and immigration, they still have similar problems when it comes to degrees and technology taking their jobs too. Hence why you see no one's having kids, nobody's actually doing anything with their life. Women also take a lot of jobs and end up being home with the kids. Yes, also that. When you double the workforce, you deflate the wages at that point. if you just get rid of women, which most of them are just going into Jew daycare for shitty little office jobs where they're just writing emails and going to useless meetings and chatting instead of actually raising their own kids. And if it actually is a real job, it should go to a man.
Jobs that require 5 years of experience for an entry-level salary that hasn't moved since the first GTA game came out. And when we
Sorry to pause within 5 seconds again. But reminds me of like when I was looking for a job years ago, before I quit my office job. It took me much longer than I expected to try to find something for that reason. I know my time as a streamer is limited. Every content creator has a shelf life. I hope by the time my shelf life is over, I'm already married with kids, and that would be the end of it. In that case, right? I can just go to that and be fine. But I am terrified if I hit my 40s, right? And I'm a washed up streamer. What am I supposed to do job wise?
complain, people will say that nobody wants to work anymore. So we started quitting. Not all at once, but in stages. Like a slow motion car crash in This Is Casual. In China, they have the let it rot trend. How about in the land of the free America? Well, we have something called soft saving. It's basically the financial version of let it rot. So instead of killing yourself to save for a house that you'll never afford for retirement, Gen Z is soft saving by spending their money now on things that actually make them feel alive. We've traded the 401k for a 401ok. I'm buying this latte. If the future is a dumpster fire, why not enjoy it now? Some people also do quiet quitting. You sure?
Maybe I'm just not in tune with my fellow Gen Zs, but I never heard of soft saving before. I can kind of understand the mentality, especially since inflation's getting worse and worse, and we have destroyed the economy over the flu. At the same time, I can't imagine just willy-nilly spending money for useless things.
Up, you do exactly what's on the paper, and you leave the second the clock hits 5. No hustle energy at all. You're just an NPC that someone forgot to give a quest to. You aren't lazy, you're just performing at a low cortisol level for your own sanity. And then there are the needs. Not in employment, education, or training. Around 4.3 million young
That's me! I don't have education beyond high school, and well, here I am. I'm a streamer. I guess technically I'm gonna be technical. I am self-employed and running a business. If I have to justify myself, I am. But let's be honest here. Streaming is a luxury job. I do take it seriously. I do thoroughly enjoy streaming, but it should be a hobby first and foremost before it turns into a job. In my case, I have gotten lucky thanks to you guys and how generous and nice that you are. And for some reason, you like me. I don't know why. But I am very grateful for it because once again, it is a luxury job.
Americans right now are completely out of the system. They're not finding jobs, they're not studying, and they're not certainly planning for the future. They're just out from the system. I realized that the American dream that we're all trying to achieve was for a game that doesn't exist anymore. When the first domino of a career falls, everything will slowly fall too. If you think the trends are happening because people are just lazy, then do me a favor and try open LinkedIn. Entry-level postings are down 35% since 2023, and youth hiring is down 45% compared to 2019. And the ones that do exist, well, AI ate them all. Companies are using AI to replace the exact entry-level
AI? Always Indians.
jobs that Gen Z needs just to get started. Young developer employment dropped nearly 20% by September 2025. Heck, even Spotify's own developers are using AI to do the thing that they're supposed to do. And then the hiring process itself became a game nobody asked to play. 75% of resumes get rejected by bots before a human sees them. You're not writing for a person anymore. You're writing for an algorithm named Sarah. And some companies now use AI to conduct the actual interviews, like scanning your face, reading your micro expressions, and scoring your eye contact. You could give the perfect answer and get eliminated because you blinked wrong. If you do manage to survive the boss and land a job, what do you actually win? Well, you win the right to rent everything forever. Housing is bought up by the investment firms. Cars are just way too expensive nowadays. Software and every app that you will have in your phone will be all subscriptions. We are moving toward a world where you own nothing and pay a monthly fee until you die. So what can
I fully expected her to say you will own nothing and be happy, and then she didn't. So I'm gonna say it instead. The whole subscription fee literally is the whole you will own nothing and be happy that the World Economic Forum is trying to push. They made a video back in 2020, actually 2019, about exactly this. By 2030, part of their 2030 agenda is that everything will be subscription based. Even the pots and pans that you use will be delivered by a drone, and you would rent that out, and you wouldn't have to worry about cleaning them. You would just, oh, you want to cook? Just, go on your app and select the pots and pans that you need. It'd be delivered via drone, and then you would just cook your food there, and then the drone would re-deliver them, and then they'd be washed by whatever robot or brownoid that is actually working the job at that point. And that's their goal. Literally own nothing and be happy. You will eat the bugs and live in the pod. We're already like halfway there. Like she says, everything is subscription based.
Can we do? What's the actual move? Do we just rot until this finally crashes? Look, there is no morning routine or cold plunges that fixes a broken global economy. Anyone telling you that is just monetizing your depression. But there is a way to stop being a victim of the glitch. Step 1 is having a 30-day system reset. The rules are commit to 1 hour every single day to learning a skill that the system cannot automate, whether that's a digital craft or a complex language. You set daily challenges to keep yourself productive, like refusing to snooze the alarm. Also set a monthly goal and a distraction penalty for yourself to be more disciplined. Step 2 is
Honestly, those are all good ideas. I've been getting back into reading, so I've been pretty proud of myself about that. But I feel like I need to actually do more. This has happened in history many times. Steam shovels eliminate ditch diggers, cars eliminate horse farriers, tech changes job market. Hate to say it, want to beat the AI? Learn to make AI. I'm a little bit claustrophobic as well, right? But I do recognize AI as just advancements in technology and will change the shape of the future. It's just, the thing is, as we do develop even more technology, more and more people will be displaced and not have a job.
understanding the rot while you're doing this. You have to realize something. That part of you that wants to stay in bed, that your lazy side is actually a protector. It's trying to keep you under the covers so you don't have to feel the pain of applying for 100 jobs and getting ghosted 100 times. The solution isn't to kill that part of you, it's to acknowledge it, because staying in that place will ultimately kill you nonetheless. When you stop shaming yourself for being tired, you finally stop wasting energy on self-hate and start using it for momentum. Step 3 is building your own future. Look, the real winners in this glitchy economy are the ones brave enough to build their own lanes from scratch. And no, this isn't just about starting a business to make a quick buck. It's about deep passion and real-world value. Look for a problem in the world that actually keeps you up at night and decide to be the ones who solves it. Whether you want to be a creator or make a business, do something that you are actually passionate about. Look, the system may feel like it failed you, but it's not your fault. You are still the one holding the controller. Now, get out of bed not for a company that will replace you with a bot to save 5 cents, but get out of bed because the new world needs people who are awake enough to build it. The world right now may seem like it's rigged, but you're still in the game. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.
Honestly, good little motivation there at the end, because I completely agree. I do repeatedly say, even though I do black pill quite a lot, I'm hypocritical, I don't do this myself, is the best thing to do is just focus on yourself first and foremost. Go to the gym, eat healthier, learn a skill like she said, and prove yourself, and then reach out to your friends and family and community and do stuff there as best as possible. Because that's the only thing you do have control. You don't have control over the Iran war. You don't have control over the Somalians in Minnesota, but you can focus on yourself and improve your life as best as possible in small little ways. Like, I know somebody mentioned that like reading's not actually a skill, it's a hobby, and I know it's not actually a skill to read, but as long as you're not reading smut books, you can actually gain a lot of knowledge from reading. Obviously, if it's nonfiction or philosophy, but even if you go back to classic fiction, one thing that's really prominent nowadays is the dumbing down of the English language. And I have been completely affected by the dumbing down of the English language. I used to be so much more eloquent back in high school when I read a lot more and wrote a lot more papers and discussed various things because of it. But then I got out of high school and I've definitely lost a lot of my eloquency because I just forgotten different words because you just don't use them. You don't use them in work. You don't use it on the internet. Ebonics is the language of the internet. I'm not writing anything because I'm not a writer and I'm not making papers about different history or any reports about anything like that. I'm not reading because I'm playing video games and doom scrolling. And so you just lose that. So reading still, once again, as long as it's not milking a farm, even though it's not a skill, it's a hobby. In the modern age, I do feel like it is still something that you can do to improve yourself just so you can slowly stop the deterioration of your mind by the slappa, by the doom scrolling, and by the bed rotting, everything like that. Well, I guess reading is bed rotting, but healthy. Reading is just healthy bed rotting, but ideally you're learning something or you're going on a wild adventure. Like the Count of Monte Cristo, fucking best fiction book I ever fucking read. Okay, by far my favorite book ever is The Count of Monte Cristo. 10 out of 10 recommend reading. Oh, and The Three Musketeers too. Alexander Dumas is amazing in general. I think it's worthwhile.